All right, we're here back on another Thursday, but this time we're not doing time travel. We're doing some nerdy stuff.
Nerdy stuff. This is what do you call this?
This is the 13th floor. It's about living in a simulation, right? Or
Yeah, it's basically a simulation.
certain part of the simulation with a
It's a computer. It's a what'd you call it? Virtual reality.
virtual reality, but in
Virtual
a
reality.
you lay down and then everything in the computer, right, is already like a preset program with memories. Like so,
Well,
these
no.
computer
Well, basically, they built worlds inside the computer, and every character in this world thinks on its own, makes its own
yes
choices.
makes its own choices.
They can even build things. They feel pain. They feel everything.
It's
It's like our
real.
real world.
So it's like a multiverse, right?
Yeah, it could be like a multiverse in a way.
Yeah, it is like a multiverse because
It's like a
everybody,
multiverse.
because in this world, in the other world, right? There's a version of you that is modeled after, and you take that
Well,
memory and place of that person.
exactly. Well, the designers of this program,
Yes, the sound of this program.
characters that look like them, and apparently they may have made characters that look like other people they met. But it starts off with the what is it? The old man Fuller,
Yeah, in the
the guy.
1930s.
We don't know who he is at first,
No.
but it takes place. He's in a hotel room in the 1937.
37. Okay.
The color's kind of off. It looks like
Yes.
the old days. He's writing a deal, and he's got some girl in his bed,
Yep.
younger girl in his bed, where he's writing a letter. He's got to get it to his friend. Was it Hall?
Hall.
What was his
Douglas
first
Hall,
name?
right?
Yeah, Douglas
Doug.
Hall. He's got to get to Douglas Hall. So he goes downstairs in this giant hotel. It's an awesome hotel. I would like to go to 1930s.
Yeah.
I would go in this program.
He's the rich person.
Yeah. No, he looks like he's a rich person. He's got all nice suits, nice clothes, nice hotel, and he goes down to the bartender and he hands it over to the bartender.
Which is
Like,
Vincent
yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio.
And he hands it over to him and says, "Hey, my friend may come down here to get this letter." Of course, he walks off, and that guy bartender turns around, and he starts to open the letter to read.
Yes. He was always kind of sinister. Like you get that feel like he's the bad guy.
Yes. Yeah, you
Yes.
already know. He's just, I mean, come on.
Something
Well,
is
we know
up.
he's the bad guy because, he's like, "Hey, you seen this girl? I'm going to hook you up. See that girl? Hey, what do you want? I can
Yep.
hook you
Ooh, he's the guy to
up."
talk to. He's the pimp.
He's kind of a, yeah, he's a fan.
Yeah.
So, so that guy's like that. And of course, Fuller leaves, goes, passes everybody, gets in his car, has him take home. He gets out, goes in his house. His wife's like, "Hey, you can smoke it again."
Yeah.
You don't know what his wife's just like, "Hey, it's okay. You've been out." But he cleans up and he goes to sleep. And then that's when we see his eyes.
Yeah. Do the little thing. Yeah.
And then he gets up in this room. He's got more modern clothes. It looks like a modern room, something
Yeah.
we're used to.
Like
Gets up and
back in
walks
the
out.
90s, I guess. Yeah.
Because the movie was made in 1999.
99. Yep.
And if anybody's lived through the 90s knows this is the 90s because of the style, the
Yep.
late 90s. And so he's in his office building, goes in the office, gets out. He kind of looks around. You can know he's just by the way he's acting, somebody might be acting,
Yes.
or somebody's going to try to get him. And of course, he goes to a bar, and then he tries to call Douglas
Yeah.
Hall.
He tried to call Douglas on the phone. He got his
And he tells him
voicemail.
basically, "Hey, somebody's trying to get me, and I left a message for you. If we don't get," and then of course his door opens up. Plus, this bartender's watching the whole time. The bartender's name is Tom Jones,
Oh, yeah. Tom Jones.
like the singer. He says that. Of course, he goes out. You don't even see who it is. But
No.
he goes out the door and starts talking. He's like, "How did
That's
you
the
find me?"
mystery.
That's the mystery. Well, in a way, it's kind of not a mystery. If you watch it the first time, it's a mystery.
Oh, yeah.
Watch it again, you notice there's a Porsche sitting out there,
Yes.
but it never shows the character. And then, of course, he gets stabbed. Boom.
Repeatedly, yeah.
Yeah, he gets stabbed, and
He gets killed,
next,
and then
yeah, next thing we know is
that's what the
Guilty
from that
Douglas.
if you watch it the first time, that's the setting of the movie. Like, oh, it's a murder mystery.
Yeah, and it is a murder mystery.
Yes. With a bigger deal that goes on, in the background.
Yeah, it was a bigger surprise at the end
Yes.
because so the settings in Los Angeles, and when they go in the computer deal, it's Los Angeles. They're in Los Angeles, 1999. The computer is Los Angeles, 1937.
1937. So let
Because
me
that's
ask you
the
this before we go on. I didn't remember this movie much, right? But I remember I bought this it was on DVD when I bought it. And I liked it a lot the first time. And then this one, I don't think it really what is that word I'm looking for? It doesn't hold up, does it?
I think it does hold up.
Okay, let's
I
talk
mean, I'm
about that.
thinking it's probably starting to get to the end of its time, but
Hmm.
I watched this several times. I'll watch it again. I mean, it wasn't the highest production value.
No, because like we just said, like Vincent D'Onofrio was the only person I recognized in this movie.
Yeah, well, at the time of the movie, though, Gretchen Mol was big too.
Oh, he was.
She was,
Oh,
yes.
she was
Yeah, Gretchen Mol is
the girl,
the girl.
the Fuller lady girl,
Yeah, apparently she
Jane
was on.
Fuller.
Yeah, Jane Fuller. She's apparently the only female character. But I do want to point out the detective, though, is everybody knows who that police
Oh yeah,
detective
the
is.
Allstate guy.
Yep, the Allstate guy is the
Yeah,
police detective. Plus, he was the president in 24.
and not only 24. Right? The only other movie I know him, he was in Major Lead.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that everybody knows his face.
Yes,
But yeah, Gretchen Mol was a bigger star then and just kind of disappeared. And Vincent D'Onofrio,
he's now the
everybody knows who he is by
kingpin.
now. Well,
Yeah,
I guess Vincent, maybe not everybody knows who he is, but everybody's seen this guy.
you have seen this guy because Men in Black
Yeah,
came out by then, right?
yeah, Men in
Yeah,
Black. I think Men in Black came out earlier than this.
yeah, earlier,
Yeah, way
1997
earlier than
probably.
this. And plus, it's just like probably one of those
So
movies.
what
Hey,
made you want to see this movie in the first place? Because I didn't remember the
it was
trailer.
accidental. It was accidental because I'm the one that told you about this movie.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah, I think
so.
I found this in the bin at Walmart for like a few bucks, $5. You know that $5 bin. And I bought the movie and then finally watched it, and I was like, this is amazing. I never even heard of it before I saw it.
I can't remember. You probably did tell me to watch it, and I
Yeah,
bought it,
I remember telling you about this because then you watched it, and then you told me, oh yeah, eventually we made like Pleasant Dreams, which was
which is really based on this. Yes,
similar to this. But yeah, this was just a movie I found in the $5 bin, and I would never heard of it.
a Walmart still had that $5 bin. Is awesome.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, I would never watch this movie if I had to pay
I would
more.
never either.
Because
I,
I mean, just the name sounded interesting, the cover looked interesting. I didn't even read what it was about. It was $5. I thought, huh,
how could you
I
lose,
knew
right?
like from the probably knew who Gretchen Mol was. You know, I never heard of this Craig Bierko guy. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, me neither. I never heard of this guy.
Just things didn't pan out for him. But like this, like you said, this was a lower production, and this movie came out the same year
The
as
Matrix.
The Matrix.
Yes.
So it's similar to Matrix.
Yeah, it's all about computer simulation.
Yeah, or it's about your reality being fake. Is what
Yes, your reality is fake.
But anyways, this guy gets killed, so he gets called. He wakes up in the morning. We finally meet the main character. And he wakes up and he goes to the bathroom. He's listening to his, hey, you need to call these people. You need to call this person. Apparently, there's some kind of deal going on. Close, he sees blood on the sink. Then he
Yes.
finds a bloody shirt.
And
So
that's what that's probably the first biggest clue they give you when he can't remember.
What's the biggest clue? He cannot remember at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what happened, which is kind of weird. You're wondering what's up with this.
Yeah.
So of course the police detective calls him, and he needs to come down and identify his body. So he shows up, identifies the body, sees him on a slab, and of course the cop asks him a couple questions because, hey, the only reason we can find you is because the pill bottle has your name on it, and you're the only contact. He goes, so does he have any other family? He's like, nope, I'm the family. Well, I'm not even his family. I'm his friend. We've been working for 6 years.
Yeah, for 6 years. Yeah.
Like this stuff. And plus, it's pointing out this guy's a genius because on his own, he has no family at all.
Yes.
So of course he's shot because the cop's like, hey, why don't I tag along? Which is kind of strange to me. But
Yeah, it was strange to me too when he might have
the
tag
cop really
along.
wants to come
Okay.
down to where he works and probably interview everybody instead of calling him into his office.
Yeah.
So of course he's like, yeah, come on. So we shoot where he works. Shows up this place. He talks to him a little bit. The cops, shows his office. He's like, you could be home now, which is a line in another movie.
Really?
Yes. I remember seeing another movie where they had these apartment complexes and all
Yeah, inside the business building. Yeah.
Okay, I know where I think it is, and it may not be in this movie, but this movie reminds me of another.
Oh,
In a way.
okay.
It's called Dark City. Ever seen Dark City?
I haven't seen Dark City yet. We need you to
No,
put
that's
down
one
the
you gotta
list.
see.
Yes.
Dark City is. I would say Dark City. I like Dark City better than this movie.
Oh, okay, good.
But I think Dark City says, I can't remember if that was the movie it said or not, but there is a scene that's similar to this. But anyways, this guy goes, you can be home now. He says, that's what it says for the apartment complexes that live downtown.
Yeah.
He goes, but I can't, the cop's like, obviously I can't afford something like this. Because some apartment like this must cost like millions of
Millions,
dollars,
yeah.
which was a very nice apartment.
Yes.
If I could live in an apartment above my work, own the company, I did it.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome.
It's kind of like people working from home now.
Yeah.
You see this space? This is where I work.
Exactly. But so, of course, though, he goes, I guess he's got a lot of perks to the job. Of course, other guys like, what do you mean? They look over.
That girl, yeah.
See Jean Fuller the first time.
Jean Fuller the first time, yes.
Nobody knows who she is.
No.
Of course, what's his name? The main character?
Doug Hall.
Doug. Yeah, Doug Hall. If anybody's watching, you'll understand if you're this movie why we can't remember their names, because everybody's got several names.
Yeah, John Ferguson is the 1937 version.
1930s version. But so Douglas goes in there and he's like, hey, who are you? She's like, I'm Jane Fuller. I'm the main character, the guy that was just murdered, daughter. And he's like, I didn't know she had it. He never told me. He's like, he's really puzzled because, like he said, he worked with him 6 years and knew everything about the guy, or thought he did.
He did, yeah.
He's got a daughter, and the daughter's there. He's like, why is the daughter there? To take over the company?
Yeah.
What's he here? That's what he's puzzled. Plus, he also thinks he's seen her before.
Yes, that's the other clue, yeah.
This is a neat thing, yeah.
Have we met before? Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, not possible. I like it, but she was supposed to meet him. This is what she's like, my dad told me about you, and he's like, your dad never told me about you.
Yes, but it makes sense at that point, though.
And of course, the detective's standing there wondering, what the crap is this?
Yeah.
He's like, he says that there's no daughter, there's a daughter now. But of course, the detective needs to talk to her, so he leaves and goes up and sees this character named Whitney.
Yeah, Whitney.
Which Whitney is actually
the bartender.
The 90s version of the bartender.
Which they explain later, yeah, because he created him.
Yeah, he basically created and modeled this guy in the game, in the program. But when you go in, there's nothing but servers. This room's full of servers, glass wall, table you lay down to jump into the system. Of course.
Wait, so do you think that would work? Since we're going to know what happened in the movie, right? Is it possible for the simulation to create another simulation? Is that how that would work? It's hard to figure that out, right? It's kind of like Inception in a way.
It's not only Inception. To me, it's like Star Trek. It's like the holodeck.
Oh, explain that to me.
Okay, the holodeck. I guess you haven't seen the holodeck. Okay, the holodeck's a room on the Enterprise. Okay, you travel deep out in space. You can't go back to Earth all the time, and you can't just stop at any planet, take a vacation, because you might come to a hostile planet. Okay. So the holodeck is this square room. Let's say it's the size of my room. It's all black with lines in it. And basically, it's got projectors all in it and imagers. So, let's say I want to walk across the holodeck. I could leave. It could look like your house. Okay. The holodeck could form your house, make people look like you, and I could touch you, but I'm actually looking at you like an image, and I'm touching a force field. And the walk is the force field would hit you in the chest. You can't feel it, and your feet will move, or the platform will move under you. We're using force fields to make it, and the image will make it look like you're walking down a hallway.
Whoa!
Like a whole bunch of people can get in the room at the same time, and the force fields and imaging would keep them apart to make it look like they're in a jungle or something.
Okay.
So basically, you can do anything you want. And the holodeck is actually like their movies. Let's say I want to put, on Star Trek, they use everybody uses their own program. Some people go on a vacation, but a lot of them like to play games. Like Data likes to do the Sherlock Holmes programs.
Okay.
So he'd put a program in, and you go there and you play Sherlock Holmes, and you figure out the program. Even though they did have a Star Trek episode where the people in the holodeck realized they're not real and they want out.
Whoa. So it's okay. So this movie's like that.
Yes, this movie's like that.
Is it possible to get out though? No, right?
They did on the Enterprise. I don't know how you would.
Because I was like, how would you do that? Okay.
I don't remember if they ever did on that. It's been an old show. But I noticed eventually they figured out a way it would have worked on the Voyager, because like I told you, the Doctor is photonic. He's a force field with an image on it. But they make him a little deal that's a constant force field projector.
Yeah.
You can walk around with it. And the ship's computers send a message and know where he's at.
Okay.
it doesn't make that much sense, but it's neat. It's
It's
interesting.
neat and
And this
interesting at
is
that
basically the
time.
same story, but basically, he's talking to that guy. I mean, I forget what all he does,
Well, he
but
talked to
he,
about like their boss died.
yeah, the boss died. And he talks to Whitney, and he's like
He's
asking
trying to
Whitney,
figure out like what happened and stuff.
yeah, what happened? Of course, Whitney's like, hey, this guy's been using this
Yeah,
program.
using this
He's like,
program for a
hey,
while.
how can you use this program? Because he doesn't know it works yet.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a bunch of servers and stuff.
So they think that he left Doug Hall some kind of message in that
Yeah, eventually we
simulation.
find out. Yeah. Well, he doesn't know that because he goes back and talks to the cop again. The cop's playing this little game, which is neat because the game's supposed to be a metaphor for what's going on in the world.
Yes.
Because everything has their job on this little baseball field. It's a baseball field from probably 1930s.
Oh
Something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shoots the ball, and every character has its game program. Of course, it messes up, but the cop's talking to him. He's like, "Hey, we went through your phone records, and we know that he called you. Fuller called you." He's like, "Hey, I didn't get any messages." And the
Yeah.
cop's like, "Hey, well, I don't want you to leave town," and he leaves.
Yeah.
So he has to go check his phone messages, and that's when he realizes he's got a message hidden. So he
Yes.
goes back and does all the computer stuff, and of course, here comes Whitney. He's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is my stuff. Leave my computer stuff." But he's like, "I want to know what he's been doing." And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's been in the system." And he's like, "Is it
Boom.
possible that he a message in this program for me?" Of course, the program shows you everything that Fuller interacts with, and basically, when you go in this machine, you only go in as whatever character that created to look like you.
Yes. I thought that was a good link right there.
But you got to remember though, is when you go in and take these people's bodies over, you displace their because they got
Memory.
their mind of their own, and so you displace it. So you're almost overlapping.
Yes.
You're going to
No,
nobody.
it's not only overlapping. I realized that like if you go into the simulation, right, that simulation's mind is into your I guess
Yeah,
your
it's supposed to go in your body, but it stays in like a stasis form, so it doesn't
yes.
get out and walk
It
around.
doesn't do
It's
anything, yeah.
just in there. But the problem is you're occupying each body, so the person, the simulation's going in your body, he's getting some of your memories.
Yes.
You're in their body, you're getting
Using
some
some
of
of
their
theirs,
memories.
yes.
So basically, it's like you're living two lives.
Oh.
Of course, Douglas wants to get in this machine, and he's like, "Hey, for 2 hours," and the guy's like, "No."
That's too long, yeah.
Yeah, but he forces Whitney because Whitney, he's like, "Hey, dude," he's got
Yeah,
long
it's like
hair.
he's a nerd, he's a programmer, that's a
Yeah, he's a
pushover.
programmer nerd, and it's easy to twist his arm and get what you want.
Yes.
So of course, this guy gets his 2 hours, and he goes in there, and boom, his eyes glaze over, and all he knows is he's at a bank, and some fat lady.
Yeah, he's a bank teller.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, you owe me 25 cents, $7.25." She just yanks that money out of his hands,
Yeah.
and everybody in the bank is just staring at him.
I like that because he's like, I don't care about this. This is not real at all.
Yeah,
He just
he
walks
doesn't
off.
even know where he's at because he's never been here. This is his
No.
first time to plug in because they don't really know. They've been programming stuff, but they don't know what the inside actually looks like.
Yeah, so he was like the first time like, man, this looks incredible.
Yeah, because everything's real. He could feel it because it's like us. Because he walks off and he goes in the bathroom. He turns the water on. He puts the water on. I want to say that because remember when we played video games, you fall in the water, you die.
Yes.
But eventually, video games you can walk in the water, and the water looks real in video games now.
Yes.
It's amazing how much a video game to us has changed.
Yes, I know.
Watching some side scroller where if you touch water, you die, and it's the stupidest thing in the world.
It is because that's the programming, you know.
Well, the programs, I mean, you can play the game and you can walk in the water. You can run it through the water. It's amazing. You can even swim in the water and go under it and come up.
Yep.
I mean, it's a huge jump for us.
Oh, it is. Even in the first system.
Yeah, I mean, I know people playing games that's younger. It's like, oh, this is just, it's normal for them. But man, it's a huge jump for us just because water was almost unimaginable. I mean, running across a deal shooting, you could always done that. You could do that in Doom all the way. Now the water washing up on the beach and running through it, it's amazing.
It is.
But to him, he's touching it. You can feel it. Everything
is real.
Smell, yes. To him, his world is real.
Oh, I didn't realize that when he was washing his hands, like cleaning up his face.
Yep. But he's also touching it because he didn't expect the water to feel like water.
Yeah. And then that's when the bank teller manager comes in and like, hey, John, are you okay?
Yeah. And like, he's smoking up.
Hey, you want to smoke? You can smoke indoors, you know? He's like, no, I don't smoke. Like, well, since when? That was interesting.
Exactly. Since when? Because he doesn't smoke. Now we know this character doesn't smoke.
Yeah.
Of course, he goes up the building, and then we see the city. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Where did he go out of the building? Yeah, he does go out of the
He
building.
go out. He said he asked him to take a lunch.
Yeah,
So he
that's him
takes that
to-
time to figure out what happened to Fuller.
Yeah,
Because
of
he
course
got the address. He got the address in mind.
Yeah, he got all the addresses because it shows you who interacted and where they
Yes,
live.
where they live, yeah,
You
where they've been.
know, of course, he gets the taxi, takes the taxi, goes over to Fuller's house and meets Fuller. And Fuller's character is actually a nice, regular guy that owns an antique shop.
Yeah, antique shop. Yes.
Of course, I like it when he asks him, he goes, "So what are you looking for?" He goes, "Oh, I'm looking for a guy named Fuller." He goes, "Yeah, look, he's a scientist." And this guy's like, doesn't even know. And he goes, "Yeah, he's from the 70s." He goes, "Yeah, 1870s."
Yeah, 1870s. Yeah.
Because this guy's not getting it. Of course, he knows they look familiar to each other.
Yeah, see, that was the first comment. He's like, "Have we met before?" I'm like, "I don't think so."
No, not
It's
really.
the same conversation.
Yeah, because he knows Fuller's. He reads Fuller, whatever Fuller could see, he sees it apartment.
Right.
So it's part of a dream because he's kind of been on the outside of the world anyway.
Yes.
This guy wants to shut his store, so he jumps in the deal and he goes up the hill to another address to find some girl named Bridget.
Bridget. Yes.
And of course, apparently, because this is 1930s, and this is kind of Depression era.
Yes.
There's some rich people and there's a lot of poor folks. Of course, apparently she got her job at some hotel doing all kinds of things to get money.
All kinds of things.
Come on, this is 1930s, so pretty much in 1930s, people did what they wanted.
What they needed.
This was the gangster, because money was hard to come by.
Yeah.
Booze was illegal.
Yes, booze is illegal.
Even though we see this guy keep getting martinis. No, actually, booze is not illegal yet.
No, not yet.
I think it ends in 1933.
Yeah.
Prohibition in 1933. So they have booze again.
So you can have hookers, I guess we could call them. Call girls.
Hey, what you do for money is their own business.
Yeah, it's whatever, prostitution, whatever, whatever suits your fancy.
They're not naming it yet because if you name it, it's illegal.
Yes.
Basically, you're going to hotel.
You just have to see the guy at the counter. Yep.
He goes and has a good time, but basically, he goes to the hotel. He tries to talk to Bridget. She's like, "Hey, her manager's like a jerk." Yes. Which is neat because he's still looking at this place is amazing because he sees because we see LA. I love it because this is LA, 1937. Yeah. Nothing but oil wells all over the place. Yeah. And Los Angeles is slowly being built. We can see it. It's to me the special effects on this for such a low budget acting movie was extremely good.
Yeah, it's a low budget acting movie, but the special effects on this is what they probably spent all their money on.
Yeah, they must have because they were top notch.
Yeah, because like you said, right? I was looking.
I've seen good production movies didn't have special effects that great. Yes. Especially at that time.
I guess it's a neo-noir movie, right? How about what's this? Craig Bierko, is that his name?
Yeah, Craig Bierko was the actor's name.
I have not seen him in anything else. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Scary Movie 4. He was in Cinderella Man.
Really?
Kate and Leopold.
That's been background characters.
Meet Bill. Superhero movie, so that's not a good one. The Change Up, I seen that with Ryan Reynolds. He was in the Three Stooges. So I guess not a big impressive resume.
Yeah, but he was the leading actor in this one. I guess they thought he was going to be something it's like the Rocketeer. Remember the Rocketeer?
Yeah. Same thing.
He carried the movie. It was pretty good. He just never made it anywhere else.
So I guess we're watching movies where the actors didn't actually really make it that big.
Hey, sometimes that's the hidden gem.
That is the hidden gem. I thought I would consider this a hidden gem because I guess besides The Matrix, right, I haven't seen anything else like it.
Yeah, right? I can't think of anything else quite like it. And this is based on a book that was written in the 60s, I think.
Really?
It's almost the first book written on virtual reality.
Oh.
Yeah, it would be the first book because I think it was in the late 60s. This is when the book was written. It was called I forget what the name of the book was called.
Let me see, because, hold on. I just had the wiki pull up. Let me see. Alright, so science fiction film written and directed by Joseph whatever produced. Oh, it's produced by Roland Emmerich.
Yes. Well, you should have known that when you saw the opening credits with the Zeppelins going into the city.
Yeah. Oh, it's loosely based upon Simuracon 3 and in
Yeah.
1964, a novel by this guy.
Yeah.
It's a remake of a German TV film. Wow.
Wow. So yeah. So I mean, there's apparently it's been around for a while, but I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, but lost
But
to politics.
of
Okay.
course, he finds what was his name? Ashton. Yeah, Ashton
Ashton is the bartender, yes.
is a bartender. It's played by the same character,
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio. Of course, he looks pretty cool.
He worked because he's had that 30s haircut. So it's
Plus, he already
clean cut.
knows what the note, but he already knows what the note says.
Yes.
And he's asking, of course, he asked him, he goes, "Hey, do you have a note for me or a deal or anything?"
Like, do you
He's
know if
like,
he leave anything for me? He's like, no, he lied.
Yeah, no. Well, I like it because he asked him right then. He goes, "What would he have left for you?"
Yes.
He's like to see how much this guy really even knows.
Yeah.
After he realizes this guy doesn't really know anything, he don't even know I have the letter. Basically, tells him, "Yeah," and I like it when he keeps looking at his watch. He goes, "Are you in a hurry?" And then that's when he sees him. He gets up. He's like, because he's been in the machine too long. Apparently, it must erase you or something.
Yeah,
Well,
it
the
cannot
thing
hold.
is,
You know what? If I cannot hold that other stays too long, the other
it
person.
probably messes with your body functions because
Yeah.
your brain's supposed to control all this and your mind's out. So, anyways, he starts to get down, so he goes to the bathroom, falls on the floor, almost passes out, and then he wakes up and he's in the right room.
Yeah, he's in the right room. Yeah.
Which is funny because you remember Vincent's character. He's like, I thought I was going to be talking to Ferguson for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because if something happens to you, we're going to point this out. If something happens to you while you're in the deal, they keep that's in
Yes. So I like the writing of that.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, like
the
the like you just don't get jacked in, right? And then like if it's kind of like it solves the problem. Like if you die in the simulation world, you're fine outside. But they didn't. They make it not so in this one.
Yeah, we should point out the simulation world is so real. You can be killed in the simulation.
Yes, you could be killed in the simulation world, and you will not come back because your mind is gone.
Yeah, because if you're dead, you're dead, and whoever's in your body gets to keep your body.
Yeah, which is really crazy. It's kind of like traveling to a different dimension, but not through the simulation.
You know, the funny thing, this has been in comic book stories in a way. There was like a Doctor Doom story where he built like a little table and built a little town in Fantastic Four. He got the Fantastic Four and plugged them in it, and then they go into the table and they walk around. And Puppet Master does it in Marvel Comics too.
Oh,
So there's been comic books like this where they put them in little tiny worlds or plug them in a game.
just
Because I think it was an X-Men comic where there's a character called Arcade. He takes their consciousness and puts them in a game and makes them play it out.
whoa.
It's pretty neat. Doctor Doom one was best. We hit the little town. And he puts the Fantastic Four in the town. But anyways, you lay on this table and it puts you in there. But Douglas gets out.
Yes.
Course, he's like barely. Of course, that guy's like, "Hey, 2 hours is too long, dude." Of course, we see Ferguson starts to walk out the deal, and Ashton sees him. He goes, "Hey, Ferguson!" He yells at him. He goes, "My name's Johnny Ferguson."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Can I have a cigarette?" He starts smoking there. And Ashton's looking because Ashton knows there's something wrong. Or
Yes.
this guy's already just because he knows it with the other guys. So he's like, and of course he leans in. He goes, "Can I ask you a question? Where am I?"
Yes.
And then you see Ferguson. You see Ashton's face. Right then he realizes the letter's not a hoax.
Yeah. We didn't know that the first time watching this because like we had no idea what's in the letter.
Yeah, we don't know what's in the letter. We still don't know what's in the letter.
No, we don't.
But we know that Ferguson already know. I mean, Ashton already knows people are jumping in and out of the
37 Ashton, yes.
Yeah, so Ashton's already got this. He's
His suspicion, I guess.
Yeah, he's almost like Fuller already now.
Yeah, I guess he's already in the know in a way.
Yeah, because he's already been given some information that our boy needs. Yeah, I mean Douglas needs this information.
You know what's really missing? Like we're missing that piece where the 1937 Ashton was even suspicious in the first place because they don't tell you until that like almost at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
because it's just a shady character.
Yeah, he's just a shady character, but we already know he knows something now.
Yes. Or something that we like is he knows something, right? Like the audience that doesn't.
Well, I guess in a way you kind of got the feeling, even as the audience, you kind of got to figure he may not start knowing his world's fake.
No.
Well, we know he's starting to know his world's fake because I mean, even by watching it, I'm realizing, okay, so he's starting to know that his world's fake, and that's okay. That you're supposed to kind of get that idea.
And you can get the idea, but in that 1937 state, right, it's hard to explain to a person that doesn't have computers. They don't even
Yeah,
have TV.
but he does know people plug. Yeah, you're right. They don't have TVs.
It's hard
Well,
for them to
TV
comprehend,
was invented, but yeah, there's only one station, and you gotta live in New
Yeah,
York.
it's kind of like the thing. Like if we invented the time machine, right? We go back to that time in 1937, and we would bring our smartphone, right? They'd probably be more interested in this than the time machine that I came back from.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, come on, this is something handheld and you can understand.
Yes.
Time machine? No.
Oh, it's
'Cause
tough,
if
man.
you're gonna go, of course your president was a movie star.
Yes. You gotta be on TV.
So, but anyway, he pops back in, and he's telling Ashland. I like it when Ashland's like, I mean, no, not Ashland. What was his?
No, Doug told Ashton that he saw the model of the bartender, because Ashton know that
No,
he
Whitney.
modeled it
He
after
tells Whitney.
Whitney.
Yeah, he tells Whitney he saw his model and he was pretty cool. But he also he's like, so how is it? He's like, the color's off a little bit.
Yes.
I like that because you can see that the coloring's a little bit. You need to work on the coloring a little bit and stuff. He goes, man, those people are down there as real as you and me.
Yes. That's actually pretty freaky if you think about it, right?
It is pretty freaky.
Because it's real as you and me. Like
Yeah.
everybody can think for themselves. Like, yeah, it is very like the Matrix. I don't know
But
what's
that's
real.
where did he go next? Because he left. Did he go see Fuller? I met Jane Fuller.
Yes, he goes to the hotel.
Yeah, he goes to the hotel to see her, and I think we skipped a little bit, but he goes to the hotel to talk to her, and she tells him pretty much she is shutting the company
Yeah,
down.
shutting the company down. But then he wrote the will to Doug.
Yeah, that's the thing. But that's the funny thing is when she goes to talk to her lawyer was like, "Yeah, I think we can help you," but the funny thing is he even says that you were never mentioned in the will originally.
Yes.
And then, of course, and she actually, we'll find out later, she knows she was never in the will.
Yes.
They may have went in there and tried to, well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but she may have tried to put herself in that will originally.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the movie, somewhere that we didn't see. And then somehow she got written out.
Yep.
Because Fuller knows what's going on.
Oh yeah. The will full. Oh yeah, the Fuller. Yep.
The Fuller that we know.
Yeah, the Doug Hall that we know.
Yeah. Well, he was the only Fuller in the movie, actually.
Yes.
So she's trying to take over. So she's got to talk to Doug again. I can't remember all the scenes because
I can't remember all the scenes, even though it was a very short movie. You know.
Yeah, it's a very short movie.
That's what movie was supposed to be back then. 100 minutes, and then that's it. I mean, but basically, we don't have to go scene by scene, right? Because this movie is very simple.
Yeah, this movie is very simple.
Basically,
there is a scene where, that Tom Jones finds out that, he shows up to the office building. He's trying to get some money because he knows that he saw this guy
at the bar,
even though we didn't see it.
Yep.
He saw him somehow, and he's trying to get some money. Of course.
But it's in suspense though, because we never saw it. But he's just trying to bribe him.
Yeah, he's trying to bribe him. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna give me some money, or I'm gonna go to the cops." And he's like, and he starts punching him, and then all of a sudden, Douglas just
wails on this guy. Yeah,
beats the crap out of him, throws into the window, and that guy takes off running.
Yep.
And Douglas doesn't even know where this aggression
comes from
because he's never had that before. But then he realizes, because everything's going to get shut down by Jane now, he's got to find
a message. And when he's trying to do it by himself, right, he forgot to set the timer for 2 hours. Exactly. So it goes over.
Yeah, he just ignores the timer, and he jumps in there, and he goes in there, and he goes to Fuller. I forgot what his name is in the deal. Of course, he just shows up at his house, busts his window.
Oh yeah.
Of course, the guy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna call the cops." He's like, "Hey," he tells him everything. He goes like, "Hey, I know where you fall asleep. I know why you
wake up." Yeah, I can't remember.
Of course, the guy lets him in, and they start talking. He's like, "So, do you have fantasies?" Well, of course, that guy's like, "Hey, I have nightmares."
Nightmares, yes.
Of course, he's like, "Hey, I think my wife thinks."
To him, it's a nightmares.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I think my wife's cheating on me." He's like, "Hey, do you remember it?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, and then of course that guy pulls out a case.
The tux.
I just found that case. He's got the top hat. the suit. So of course he's like, hey, why don't you put it on? We're gonna go down to the hotel.
Yeah, let's
See
go
if you
somewhere.
remembered him. Yeah, he's like, hey, let's go for a drink. Of course they show up that hotel and he's like, you've been here, and he goes, I can't even come here. I don't have that kind of money. Like he goes, it's my treat. Come on in.
So it's really funny, right? When he said he doesn't have that kind of money. So when Fuller was being this guy, right?
Where's he getting that money?
Yeah, where's he getting that? Because he was, in the beginning, he was paying that girl like a lot sum of money.
Yeah. He's just saying, there's no telling where he's getting the money. Maybe he's robbing people.
He could probably just program it.
Exactly. He must have a stash program somewhere because he has a suit that this guy doesn't know about.
Yep.
So he's probably been doing all kinds of programming because, I mean, he's probably...
Hey, man, he was having a good time.
Tricking Whitney into doing all kinds of crap for him.
He's like, hey, he's been having a good time. Like, all I need is this money back in this day. Yeah. I need $1,000 and I'm a richest man.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, 1937, because he tells the cop, the cop asks Whitney, why did you do this for 1937?
Oh.
He goes, because that's the year that
the Fuller
was born.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go back to the year of his childhood. And of course, he's doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, he is.
But I like it. Goes in there, and of course, they're trying to remember.
You know what? Hey, wait. It makes sense now because you said that was the Great Depression, right? So he grew up poor. So he wanted to experience like his fantasy of a rich person at that time.
Yeah, probably. I mean, 1930s is a good time to have a party.
Yep. Like the Great Gatsby.
Yep, exactly. The Great Gatsby. Just don't run over anybody.
Yes.
Because you get shot in your pool.
Oh, wait! You talking about the movie, or is that how the book went down?
I don't know. I didn't read the book.
Oh, okay. Then there's a Leo
I watched
movie.
The movie, and the movie was good enough for me.
Yeah, me too. It's better than the book.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it.
It's really boring. Like it makes you have ADD or something.
Okay, as long as it doesn't turn you into a serial killer, okay.
Yeah.
Don't go reading Catcher in the Rye. Okay.
So now this is where Doug Hall is trying to get all the information. He want to prove his theory.
Exactly.
Because this is where he's suspecting.
Yeah, and then slowly this guy starts to remember. Oh, well, I like it because that one girl. Well, of course, one guy calls him Fuller, and he's like, "That's your name."
Yeah.
This other girl comes up and hugs him. Hey, honey bear.
Oh man.
This old guy's he's got like
kisses. Yeah, he has lipstick on his face.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna go home and get in trouble again. Of course, he finally starts remembering shit.
Yeah, because now he's in a place that he remembers.
Yeah, and then finally he's like points to Ashton all the way across the bar. He's
like, oh, I gave him a letter. I wrote it a letter and I gave it to him.
This is when it gets crazy because then of course he's got to chase after Ashton all the way through the deal. And then Ashton's got a gun now.
Yes.
Shoots him in the leg.
See, that's the thing. So he should feel that pain, right?
Oh, he did.
Because he was able to run away.
Oh, he kind of run.
Yeah.
Remember, it showed him. He was screaming.
Yeah.
He shot him in the leg.
So it's really weird. Like, imagine that, we know how the simulation works, right? When they switch minds again, you wake up like, what the heck? How come I got shot?
Well, see, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. Yeah, when you wake up, when you come back into your simulation, guys, like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I like it because he keeps trying to get a little bit. He's slowly getting information out of Ashton. Ashton's like, I see how you're plugging in and you're disappearing.
Yes.
I don't know where you're coming from. I know you're coming from up there. He kind of thinks he's like a god or something.
Yes.
Like some kind of spirit. He goes, and then you tell me my world's not real. Yes. He's like, hey, I see that letter. But this is funny when he's saying that world's not. You don't really seem to put it together, but you should have put it together now.
Yes.
Because that letter's not for this guy.
It's for Doug. Yes.
It's for Doug in the other world. And he's saying, hey, this world's not real. And I like it when he starts explaining to him. Because, they're getting that fight in that pool room. And he finally tells him, yeah, I got in my car. And I went to somewhere. And this is where it reminds me of Dark City the most.
Oh.
Because I'm going to go to a city that would go. And he goes, and I drove, and I went through the roadblocks. And that's where it kind of stops.
Yep. But it doesn't show you at this point.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. And of course, then they get a fight. And then, of course, he starts Vincent's character starts to drown Douglas's character in the pool. And finally he wakes up. And it's actually Whitney.
Yeah, Whitney trying to help him come up and the punches.
Yeah, of course, Whitney crawls over the circle. Hey, you're not going to hit me again.
Like a little wimp.
Yeah. Of course, because there's pretty good acting because Vincent's character, he's playing two characters in this movie.
Well, everybody is.
Almost, everybody, and they're completely different.
And you know what's really crazy, man? Like, we talk about like if you die in simulation, you die in real life, right? So let's just say the guy that like Douglas is John Ferguson in the 1937. So what if
Yes,
John Ferguson actually died like from an accident or whatever? Would they be able to plug in, or is there some kind of error? Like, hey,
it was just an error.
that's because they never touch on that. I wish that's something I would ask to see like what happens in this world. Like, so that means I can no longer get plugged in.
You know, if the characters die in their world, it's not going to hurt anybody if nobody's plugged into them.
No, but I'm saying like if that character dies in that simulation, right? Then I can go back in as that alter
They
ego.
can just make another one. You got to remember, they can see what's going on in the programming, and you can recreate a program, so you're not going to have a problem.
So I guess, but then it will be strange for everybody. Like suddenly this new person comes in. Oh, but they know I
Uh,
just moved in here.
yeah, but they probably got safeguards in there in a way to
Makes
keep it
sense.
from killing each other. But the problem is when you go down in there, you're already starting to mess with stuff now.
Yeah, I know.
You know, because probably the programming had a reason for Ashton. Probably would never have killed anybody because he had no reason to.
Yes.
But then Douglas is going in there and starting a problem.
Yeah, messing with his mind even
Yeah,
more.
he's going in there from the outside. So he's outside of the programming because there's already probably rules of how this world works.
What would
And
you
you
do
got
in
this
a
big,
world like this? If you were in this, if you and my world are real, right? And then we get to go to this simulation world, what would you do? Like, they just give you 1 hour of time.
the 1930s.
Or any time. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna
Where
go
would you like to go?
1930s.
Okay, and what would you do?
Be a gangster. Oh, I would probably just cruise around and check out all the cities and stuff and
But
drain.
then with the gangster thing, there's a high probability that you might have
Yeah, I
an
won't be the
accident.
gangster. Never mind. But I would go to all the clubs and hang out.
Oh, that's cool. I don't
It
even know where to
would be like a
start.
vacation. I would do it like a vacation.
So that's just where you and me different because you're a white person and I'm not. So I would not go to anything before 1980.
1980.
I would probably go somewhere like, let's see, when's this safe for Chinese people?
China.
I can't go to 1930s. It's not gonna be cool. Okay, I see
Hey,
Shanghai noon.
you can go to China 1930s.
No, that's probably not a good time either.
Yeah, it's not really even going to China is not good even before the 80s.
So this is just really for you guys.
Sorry.
Like now, if you talk about like if Chunmo never dies, I get you go in as a white person. Now that changes the game completely.
I'm just saying though, you could go back to China in the 1930s to go to the Obi-Wan club.
Or I would have to go into. You know what? It basically you just have to go back as a rich person. Then you would have no
Basically, you
problems.
do.
Yeah.
If you got money, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can make money. It's like going through time. Going time traveling backwards wouldn't be good for you either.
Yeah, it won't go very good for me. Anything before 1980s, forget it.
You sure
So
don't want to go to
this
the
this
1800s.
virtual reality is kind of like time traveling in a pace in a piece.
Yeah, in a way it is. It's
Yeah.
just a safer time. It is
Is
the
it
probably,
safer?
let's put it this way: from the technology we know, could be a more realistic time travel.
Yes, this is the more realistic time travel because you could basically
I
make.
kind of can't see us doing what we see in the movie ever either, but
Yeah.
I see it as a better possibility than time travel backwards.
Yes.
And plus, it's still safer, kind of.
Wow. It is safer.
Simulation kills you.
But then
you
I would change
the
more
neat thing is you
rules.
can always come back to your regular time.
Yeah, you could. I mean, your regular state in this case. Yeah.
To me, I'd use it like a vacation.
I would change those rules though. If I die in the simulation, I just wake up.
Yeah,
That's
that would be
the rule.
that would be a really smart.
That's
rule.
the fail safe.
That would be the fail.
But you know what? In this movie, right? They said that this is kind of like a prototype. They just didn't how much because if you think go back to the movie, Doug comes back right and he want to shut it down.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course he comes out. Yeah, you're right. He's like, hey, we're messing with people. We're shutting it down. Now he agrees with Jane.
Yes.
And of
Because
course,
Whitney didn't want to do it.
yeah, Whitney doesn't want to shut it down because Whitney's like, hey,
He built this and he never experienced it.
but I do like it because our boy gets out. Douglas goes out. He meets Jane again. Talks to
Yes.
Jane a little bit.
They have
dances
a
little bit.
date night.
Yep, they have a date night. And of course, he wants to know about France. She doesn't want to tell him about France, which France is a place that Douglas can't go yet.
Yes.
Of course, you know, they have a little bit of date night, and he goes home, goes to sleep, and of course, all of a sudden, the detective shows up with all the cops
Yeah.
and arrest him and take him back to the deal. And he finds out that he murdered Tom Jones now too.
Yes.
So they throw him in the jail, and of course, here comes Jane and gets him out.
It was really weird for that scene, like, cause we never seen where he murdered Tom Jones, but then
No,
that was
we just
really
know,
strange.
but he already knows he can't remember a whole big old section either. For all we know, while they were dancing, he got hacked.
Oh.
And the husband showed up and talked to his wife.
His husband, his name is David, I remember.
Yeah. So David may have showed up at that restaurant, and that's when he probably threatened Jane.
Oh.
And then he went and murdered
Tom
that
Jones.
other guy for fun.
Yeah, for fun.
And then Doug just wakes up and he's like, I don't even remember, because he don't even remember going home.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He don't remember anything. Of course, that guy's like, hey, you killed. And of course, he starts smoking.
Yes, he started smoking.
And of course, that detective's looking at him and says, hey, you're picking up a lot of bad habits all of a sudden.
Yes.
Because this detective sees everything.
That's right. So when he was smoking, he was not Doug Hall.
I thought he was. And he's just picking up things.
Oh, he's picking up the memories.
Yeah, he's picking up everything from his
David,
his host or whatever. It's not really his host. He's the host, but
yeah. Whoa.
So he starts smoking, and he doesn't even know. He doesn't even realize he's smoking. He's just smoking like he's always
by
been doing.
habit. Yep.
Yeah. And of course, the guy's like, "Hey, you murdered this guy. We throw you in jail." And of course, then Jane comes and bails him out. Of course, they're in the car. You can see the limo driver keep looking at him.
Yeah.
And they're having that conversation. She's like, "Hey, I told him you spent the night with me." Blah blah blah. But he's like, "Hey, I can't remember." He thinks he's telling her he killed that guy, and she knows that he did kill all of them. People. But she keeps telling him, "It's not you. You didn't kill those people. You didn't kill those people." Because technically, he didn't kill those people.
No, technically he didn't.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then while they're doing this, then Whitney, because he knows it's gonna get shut down. The same reason Doug did it.
Yep.
He gets in the machine. And boom, he's in his own world that he built that he wanted to see.
Yep, he caught up at the time where Ashton put John Ferguson in the car.
Here's the thing: if you're going to hack into somebody, maybe you should look into the programming to see where your character's at.
Well, but then to him, he doesn't know what's going on, though.
No, he doesn't. But he knows. But the problem is, he probably should have known he wasn't driving a car.
Yeah.
Because remember, he appears when he's driving a car, and all of a sudden he panics. And of course, then comes a cop. Drives up behind him, and the cops want to see his license. He's like, I left my license. He's like, he tried the glove box.
Yeah, tried the glove box. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Opens it up, and there's a pistol.
There's a pistol in there, yeah.
License. And finally, the cop's like, okay. He tells the cop, hey, there's something in the road, a swerve. The cop's like, okay, because it's 1930s. And this guy looks like a goofball. Cops are walking by the car, and then you hear somebody knocking on the trunk.
knocking on the trunk.
And of course, the cop pulls a gun out and he's like, hey, dude, get out of the car. He gets out of the car, and he's like, oh, no. He already knows he's in a bad situation.
Yeah.
And, of course, he opens the door, and he thinks it's Doug.
It's Doug, yeah.
He goes, hey, it's Doug. It's Doug.
It's just a big misunderstanding.
And he steps out and gets hit by a truck.
Yep. And that's when we know that when you die in this world, right? You thought that he would wake up, as his self in the 90s, but it didn't happen that way.
We see Whitney get up, but
it's not Whitney. Because the mind transfer, right? It didn't go back.
Yeah.
It didn't retransfer.
Because there's nothing to go back to, so it just stays.
I like that. I like that part of the writing.
Yeah.
That's really clever.
I like it because then, the security guard calls Doug. He's like, hey, Whitney's acting strange.
It's actually because he doesn't know how to get out of that room.
Yeah, because he can't get out of that room. He keeps doing the name badge, trying to put it. He's watching him do those stupid stuff.
Yes.
And of course, well, I think we skipped a gigantic part though.
No, we did because they actually Doug and Jane actually got together.
Yeah, and then he went because
we also skip a lot of part where Jane Foster is no longer there, And
Yeah,
then
we forgot the part because he goes back to the hotel to find Jane
yeah,
again.
she was checked
And of
out.
course, Jane is checked out, and of course, the detective's sitting there, and he's like, Jane doesn't
Doesn't
even see it.
exist.
He's like, we checked for France, and the funny thing is, he says it took a long time for us to get a hold of anybody in France,
Yes.
which makes you wonder who did they talk to.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the neat thing is Doug's smart enough. He goes out. Well, it's only because Doug recognizes the driver.
Yeah. How does he recognize his driver? Do you remember?
Because he was in the limo with him. Remember?
That's right.
And the
That's
driver
the
kept
limo
looking
guy.
at him. So he goes out there and asks that guy, "Where'd you drop her off?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I can't tell you." And of course, he gives the money. Of course, the detective was looking like, "No, I gotta talk to this guy."
Yeah.
So he goes and he shows up at the grocery store.
Not the grocery store. The
He
no,
shows
it's
up
the
at her
grocery
house
store. Yeah.
first.
The house first. Yeah.
And he asked the girl and then we found out that girl's like, "I don't know her by that name."
Yeah.
But then he goes to the grocery store. I love this because he goes to the grocery store, and she does a good job at being two people too.
Yes.
With her accent changes too.
Yeah.
So he goes to the grocery store and he acts like he has to buy something. Big old bottle of Pepsi.
Yeah.
A bottle of corn syrup and canned ham.
Yeah. It's just random items. Yeah.
And she's like, "It's 7:02." And he just keeps staring at her. He just keeps staring. You can see she's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Finally, she goes, just chewing bubble gum. She's like, "Hey, why don't you take a picture? It'll last you a little bit longer." And
It's really funny when you said that, right? Because he kept looking at her. That happened to like this. We went to the doctor this morning, right? And then we went to have a big breakfast because the boys had a soccer game, so we want to make sure they ate. And then when I get to the restaurant, right, it's called Benny's Cafe over in McKinney.
Yeah.
And we go in there, right? So I see this waitress. And I'm like, huh, she looks so familiar. So I even told Heather, like, you see this waitress there? Like, I don't know if I've seen her before, but to me, right, she looked like somebody I seen before. And that now just that saying that reminds me of this movie.
Did she say take a picture?
No, because she didn't see me looking at her, right? But I keep looking
okay.
at this lady, right? Like, I feel like somewhere I seen this lady before.
You probably did. You may have worked at it with her. Someone.
Man, it's just crazy.
Sometimes it's
and I can't help like it's not like because she's attractive, right? It's just that it bothers me so much. Like
you know that person.
Yeah, I know that person, but I can't
But
place
again,
it.
you may just have that face,
Yeah, it just had that face. So like,
there's places I'll go and people just stare at me, and then they go, "Hey, we went to school like when we lived in Dallas. I didn't grow up in Dallas. I grew up on the other side of the state. There's this guy who kept thinking, "Oh, I know you. We went to high school together." I was like, unless you grew up in West Texas, there's no way we go. No, we went to Dallas. I was like, I'm not from here, dude. I am not who you think I am.
Yeah, you're right.
That happens several times. Go to grocery. I went to a gas pump. Somebody walks up to me and starts talking to me, and they're like, "Hey, remember that party?" It's like, no, I don't even know who you are, dude. Just get away from me. It's like the guy starts looking at me. And it's like, "Sure." And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure."
So this is really strange, right? Like, now have things happen like to those people, but for me, it's actually like I'm the person that you talk about to go away. Like, I'm not that person.
Yeah,
but you look so familiar.
She looked like, "Oh yeah, we went to school together." I'm like, "No way."
I should be like, "Hey, what's your name?"
There's only like 60 people in my class. I wouldn't know who you were.
Oh my gosh.
I promise you. There's only 60 people in my graduating class. I wouldn't know who you are.
Wow, 60. Now, like me and Cody graduated high school. It seems a lot more now, like 500 to 600 people. It wasn't. It wasn't that much, but like.
Yeah, I feel sorry.
But nowadays, it's way more than that.
I know. I hate to go to y'all's graduation. You'd be sitting there forever. Ours took about less than an hour.
60 people.
It was time to go.
So
everybody knows who everybody is in the class.
So Doug. Hold on, this is the part of the movie where Doug realizes it and he's trying to drive to the edge of the city.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, remember, she doesn't know who he is, so he's out in the parking lot because he's a little upset. He's upset because he's already realizing his world. Yeah, because she's plugging in and out in his world.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Of course, she's like, "Hey, I recognize you," or "You look familiar." And of course, he gives her the same line that he said before.
Yeah.
"Maybe I know you in another life."
Yeah, in another life. Oh, man.
She walks back in the deal. And
she looks younger, right? Working at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, she looked like she was maybe 18 when she was Jane Foster. Is like suddenly she was like 28.
Yeah, no, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's just how, the accent and how you dress.
Yeah, and of course, he drives his Porsche to the end of the town.
Yep,
Into LA.
exactly like Ashton.
Yeah, I like it because then it shows you it's unfinished.
Yes.
You see color and then it's all green and stuff, like the what do you call it, the skeleton modeling,
Yeah.
and that bird flies through it and it turns green.
Yes.
It's kind of got that old computer look to it.
It does. It's like that. Yeah, that's what we expected things to look like back then, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then he knows he's in the fake world, so he's got to go back to his building. But I like it. The cop, they figure out who the lady is, so that detective shows up.
At the grocery store too.
Yeah, he goes through the same line too. He stares at her, and of course she's kind of uncomfortable. But this stuff costs about $7.
Yeah.
And I like it. He goes and sits in his car, and he's puzzled.
Yes.
And her eyes change. She walks over there. It's just creepy the way she's looking, and she can see. She knows that the detective's sitting out there.
Yep. They figured it out.
Yep. And then, of course, she shows up. Well, Douglas is now at the building with Ashton, who's like, already killed the security guard, took his gun, and he's sitting there watching all the TV shows.
Yeah, all the TV shows, because he never seen anything like that.
Oh, he can see it. He's like, this is your world. I like it when he goes in there and talks to him and he turns all that off.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you turned the world back on. I love that.
I did, because it's way weird. Like, at that scene, right, Doug doesn't really care what happens then.
Yeah, he doesn't care anymore
because he knows he's in a simulation.
Yep, he's in a simulation.
They never actually said that though. Like, and he also realized that that's how you transfer the bodies or the mind.
Yeah. So he knows he's now in a simulation.
Yep.
And I like it because Ashton's like, it's just crazy, but it's like him traveling. He traveled to the future in a way.
Yes, he did. He definitely traveled to the future.
Yeah, he just traveled to the future. So this guy to him is like a god.
Yeah.
And you can see that because he got created.
Oh, he did.
He is the guys. They're the guys that created their world. And of course, here comes Jane. Shows back up, and then Jane finally tells him what's going on.
Yes, but he already figured it out.
Yeah, he's like, you are in a simulation, but here's the greatest thing about your simulation. She goes, there's tons of simulations, but you're the only simulation
that created a simulation.
In a simulation. So that's why she's shut it down.
Oh, man.
That's pretty cool.
It is, because it took me a minute to process that. But you figured that out, right? But then you're like, where was the movie going to go from there?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. That's why she had to shut it down, because Fuller figured out that he's in a simulation, and they can't have any characters figuring out they're in a simulation.
Yes.
But the only reason Fuller figured out he's in a simulation because they're afraid that anybody goes in there will question their world and go out to the edge of it.
Yes.
So Fuller did, and then so did Douglas now. So they got to shut it down. And then, of course, that's when she tells Douglas.
It's interesting how Fuller figured it out. Like the 1990 Fuller.
Yeah, Fuller, he must have decided to question his own reality after being in that fake reality.
Oh, that's good, because he's programmed to be
really smart guy.
Yes, he's programmed to be a smart guy.
He probably thought he may saw something wrong in the reality he lived in. Or he may saw them jumping in or something somewhere. Because he would have been.
He probably saw Doug jump in.
He must have saw.
Or David. He saw David jumped in.
Yeah, because David must have been.
Because sometimes he would be talking to Douglas, right? And then suddenly, like, what the heck happened?
Yeah, because the way they talk, it's like David's been going in there killing people all the time.
Yes, and that was his fantasy.
Yeah, that's what he was using the programming for.
Yeah, but I mean, which is okay because he created it, right? He can't do that in real life. You do that in virtual reality. The problem is
with these people, the way these people acting like they have to sew. Because remember, this movie, it starts with that quote.
I think therefore I am.
Yep. So basically, it means you don't have to be flesh and blood to exist.
Oh, this movie is way better now that we talked about it.
Yeah.
It's way better.
Well, of course,
How can nobody ever seen this movie?
I know. This is not anything that anybody watches. I've asked a lot of people. Nobody's ever seen this movie. Wow. I tell people about it, though. You got to see this movie. This is a movie to see.
Yes, this is a movie to see.
It's not The Matrix.
It's not The Matrix. It's similar, right? But there's nothing else like this currently.
It's low-key, though. The Matrix was all, hey, look at me.
But The Matrix was good, though.
The Matrix was good.
Yeah.
But it was a
big
budget movie that had a lot of money for advertising.
Yeah, this one didn't.
Yeah, this movie didn't do it. I mean, plus this is a Sony movie.
It's Columbia. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't really say anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much you love Sony.
Yeah. My Sony is one of my favorite things.
Actually, I like Columbia Pictures. It's not
No,
my fault.
Columbia did a lot of good movies.
Oh, they've done a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
But the neat thing is, so of course she explains that her husband, the guy who's been plugging and killing everybody, is even threatened to kill her.
Yes.
And of course she likes him. And she has a plan. You don't really know this until after the end of the movie. She's pretty conniving too.
Yes.
Very conniving.
Very.
She's already figured out a plan. She already knows how the system works. She tells him all this stuff. And of course, they end up kissing and end up in bed together.
Yep. Not the first time, which is really weird.
Of course, I forgot what happened. Is that where
Well, after they went to bed, right? She calls the cop. She calls the detective.
Well, he leaves. Why did he leave?
Why did he leave?
Is it because he leaves because I think that's when they call him about Ashton, right?
Yes.
That's when he's weird. So he leaves, and of course she calls the cops.
Yes, she calls the cops.
And of course, while he's messing with Ashton, remember Ashton goes, "Hey, I want to see this deal." He's got that gun to the back of his head. He goes, "I want to see this whole deal." So of course, Douglas
he shows him. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as he goes up the elevator, he changes into David.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Their system, they apparently remember everything they do.
Right.
Because he didn't hesitate. He already knows that this guy's on the elevator with him. And
yes.
The same thing with her. When she plugs in, she already knows that detective's sitting out there waiting. Even though.
Oh, that's right. Because they're the real world.
Their system's better.
Yeah, their system is better.
And of course, that Ashton's like, "Hey, this is where I was born." He's like, he's all crazy listening to the system. And of course, that guy just picks his gun up.
Yeah, kills him.
He just starts shooting him.
Because he's David.
He goes back and finds Jane, and he's going to kill Jane.
Yes.
Well, first she thinks it's Douglas, and then it turns out. But I think she had an idea that David was going to show up.
Yep.
Of course, he's trying to choke her and kill her, and then of course she bashes him in the head, runs downstairs, tries to get out of the building, and here he comes, puts a gun right up to her. She's like, "Hey, why'd you do this?" He goes, "Because it's fun."
Oh, I know.
And as soon as he starts to pull you can hear him do the hammer, which is weird. The gun was already caught. Pulls the hammer back, and then bam, the glass shatters, and he goes down. And there's that detective.
Doug,
just in time.
Oh, not Doug. David dies.
Yep, David dies.
So when David dies, we already know that, like, oh my God, Doug is going to be in the other world.
We don't even know where Doug went, but we know Doug's gone.
Right.
Of course, I like it. She's like, "Took you long enough."
Yes.
But apparently, she's already explained, because now we know that she set this up.
Yes, because the detective.
She trapped her husband in that body and had that detective kill him.
Yep.
But she had to make it look like she's in trouble.
Yeah.
But I like it when she goes, "Is he dead?" And he goes, "Yeah, a bullet usually does that."
Yes.
Then I like it because he said this line earlier in the movie. Remember when he's talking to Whitney? He's asking Whitney how all the machinery works, and Whitney gets on the table and describes it to him. He goes, "So you don't think somebody crawled up extension cord into our world and killed somebody, do you?"
Oh, that's right.
He said that earlier.
He did.
And now he asked her, "So what are you going to do, unplug us?" And she's like, "No, I'm going to leave you alone." He goes, "Good. You get up there to your world, you don't ever come back to ours."
It's really weird. I guess the detective, he's a computer simulation, so he understood.
He must have went and looked too.
Yeah.
She must have explained enough to him that he went and saw it, because he's been seeing these people plug out in and out.
Yes.
Because he saw Doug act weird.
Yeah, he saw Doug act weird. Yep.
And then he saw Jane up firsthand.
Oh.
And he may have just went and drove to.
Not even Jane firsthand, right? Then he saw Jane again, the same person but acted differently.
Yep.
That's confirmation.
He must have, and he may have drove to the end of town just to get the extra proof and such. But the problem is, being a cop and stuff, to him, he accepted it.
He accepted it, yeah.
Yeah, he actually accepted his role. Unlike everybody else. He accepted
that's dangerous.
Which is weird that he did.
So, like, from then on, right, they have to make sure, okay, nobody leaves LA, so everybody just stay here, we'll be fine.
Well, he already knows the program won't affect anything.
Yeah, wow.
So he just has to do his thing, keep doing like his thing. Because he's already seen so much.
And you know what?
The next thing is Douglas waking up.
Douglas waking up in 2024.
Which they didn't need to put the year on it.
No, they didn't.
Because they now aged it, because we're only 4 years away from this. And
yeah.
we know this future, you saw that future. The beaches are all watered. all these future buildings, and they had a headset.
Yeah,
But again, this is 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Yeah, they didn't know what it was going to be like anyway.
Yeah, yeah. From us,
Do you
that's
think one day
21
we'll
years
ever
ago.
stop doing that, or we just gonna go really way out like, hey, this is 2652?
Star Trek put a date on it, but they put like
Yes,
200 years from now.
yes.
So things could change in 200 years, maybe.
Well,
But
but
this
then,
was pretty close.
but this is
This was still,
because, yeah,
but I guess 20 years, I guess we thought, because I mean, everything was happening 2015, 2024. But I'm thinking on this movie, they could have easily left the date off because we could see him wake up and we could have gave it our own date.
yes,
This is the only problem to me. This movie ages right here on that.
yeah. Ages right here on that. Yeah,
If they would cut the paper out in the date or just cut the date out of it if we don't see a date,
maybe
I
that's what
would
they
have
did
thought this
back
is
then.
2050 or 2060 or 2190.
Yeah, you know what? I'm surprised they didn't do the 60 years thing because he went to 1937, right? So it's like
Yeah.
62 years ago. I'm surprised they didn't go 1999 plus 62 years, like 2050 something or
Yeah, I
61.
think they should just left the date off altogether.
I think so. They
Never-
just took the day off too.
Then you could be watching it because when 2024 rolls around, you could watch this movie and not think.
Oh, let's not do that.
Because you would add the date to it, so you'd add the date to it.
Yeah.
Because to me, when he woke up and you see everything before he sees the date, you already think he's way in the future, right?
So Back to the Future is kind of like that. They did the 2015 thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well, they
the
should have
same
put
thing.
Well, they had to put a date on Back to the Future, in a way.
I need to go back and watch this trailer to see what it was like.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I never thought about that either until now.
But
Because
anyway,
like,
the neat thing is he wakes up, he's just got a headset, and that's all the system is now is headset.
yeah, it's
She wakes up
it's
with her
really
headset.
it's like he's laying in his bed. And he woke up with a headset.
Yeah, so now he's in the world with her, so she wins. I guess she was the one running the game now,
Yeah,
so she gets what she wants.
and then she doesn't need to do anything.
Well, like the neat thing is he walks out on the patio to see all the future,
Yeah.
and out in the field is Fuller.
Fuller,
Fuller was based on her dad. So
her
that
dad,
guy
yeah,
was never
his
in
father-in-law.
Yep.
Yeah, so that guy never jacked in.
Yep. That guy never jacked in. It was just her fault. It was her real life fault.
I'm so glad you pointed that out. I totally accept what your conclusion was, like how Fuller figured it out. He's a smart guy, and Doug has been acting weird.
So he had to see something. Plus,
Yeah.
he's already built him a world. It came to him, what if my world's not real? I
Oh,
mean, a lot of people question that. Even now, a lot of people see something and wonder, well, if I'm playing a fake world, how do I know I'm not the fake?
yeah, like my thing with the waitress this morning, and then people were having deja vu.
Well, how do we know? Because we don't really know what's out there. Scientists are already thinking they can see the edge of the universe anyways.
Oh, the edge of the universe.
So what's on the other side of that? What are we? Are we like Men in Black? Are we a bunch of little marbles?
Oh, I love the idea. I always have, but I don't know.
You never know. Are
Wow.
we? Are we actually a tiny little bitty universes in a gigantic universe?
I'm gonna see like if there's a cult following of the 13th floor, like online. Let's see the 13th floor.
Never thought about looking for that. I knew there's one right here.
The other two is right here.
Then I added another one to my Gorilla group.
Yeah, I see the 13th floor Rotten Tomatoes.
So hey, we got one group right here.
Yeah, just one group. How do
Oh, so
I
did
find it? Like who likes this movie?
I like your green lighting going on. You need little beams though. So I
Wait
know
until
that
you see the
got-
overlay that I did
Well, I
for
know
this.
that you got one of those tables in the background.
Tables.
The table that shoots all the green light out.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you lay down and all those green beams are like.
Yeah, see, hold on. Who's seen this movie? The 13th floor. There's no discussion like, oh, I love this movie, you know? Probably on Amazon.
Yeah, what did you watch it on? Where'd you get your movie at?
I watch it on digital, but then back then when you told me about it, I bought the DVD.
Yeah. Oh, I
'Cause
remember it
there
on
wasn't a
Disney.
lot of art on this movie.
But I was curious where you got yours now.
Oh yeah, I have on Amazon.
Anyways, after the movie ends, it goes to the credits and it plays a song by the Cardigans,
Yes, you were going to talk about that.
which is neat because the Cardigan song is the disc. When you bought the disc, it came with their video. The Cardigans are kind of hard to. I mean, if you watch movies, they got a lot of songs on movies. I think that one was "Love Me" on Clueless.
Yes.
They did that one. This song doesn't sound like anything. And their video is kind of reminds me of Star Wars because they're in this room that's closing. They're
Yeah.
trying to put the microphones and stuff to keep the room from going. But it's called Erase and Rewind.
Erasing
It's
the
actually a pretty
rewind.
good song.
Oh, okay, I gotta
That's
check
it.
that out.
And it's actually the funny thing is the song plays the whole credit length, and that's it. That's the only song it plays, and the credits are really short in this one.
Wow.
So I'm thinking it had a really small group of people
It's a
made this.
really small production.
It probably had like must have had people who knew how to do computer imagery and stuff, and they must have did the whole movie themselves.
Right, because it's hard to shoot in 1930
And I
something.
would think this movie, even unpopular, may have made its money back. If they didn't have such a huge production, they couldn't have spent that much money.
Let me see. Budget was 16 million, box office 18 million.
Yeah,
18
so
and a
not
half.
quite, because I think you got to make 3 times of what you spent.
Yeah, you gotta mix 3 times what you spend. Wow.
Really?
Oh, it was mostly negative reviews.
Oh, really? A lot of people didn't like it then.
Yeah.
But the problem is, do you remember coming out of the theater?
I don't know, see, because people said bad script and confusing plot undetermined the movie's impressive visuals.
Hey,
People
like
are
I said,
dumb.
confusing Yeah, a lot of people are dumb. Not my problem.
Yeah.
So
You had to be
they're
really
basically
smart.
saying this movie was too smart for a lot of people.
Yeah. Kind of like that TV show, Arrested Development. You ever seen that show?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
you'll
but
see what I mean.
I know of the show. I haven't ever said.
So if you see it, right, you probably like it, and then you're like, why did this ever get canceled? Because even in the show, right, like by the third season, you know who narrates the show? Ron Howard.
Oh, really?
Ron Howard narrates the show. Like, who's in it? Jason Bateman is the main character, right?
Yeah,
So Ron Howard is the narration. They even make remarks, right? Like, this show is too smart for some audiences. They also make remarks about, like, you should go tell your friends to watch this show. Yeah, Arrested Development is a really smart show. So if you like the 13th Floor, right? LaBeouf is probably the other person seen the 13th Floor. I could see that he would like, oh, this was a fantastic movie. This is one of the movies when it was released, right? It was ahead of its time.
I think it was pretty good. I mean, like I said, the production wasn't as high. That maybe that's why people didn't like it.
It must be.
And some of it probably they just didn't explain a lot as much.
Yeah, kind of like.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
you're
the way
right.
a movie should be made?
Exactly.
You know, somebody sit down in a chair and explain the whole movie to you? No.
So now we say that, right? We're gonna go back to what we talked about last week. Back to the Future. They explained too much, and now I ripped that into pieces. You know how I destroyed Back to the Future too, right? Now that I think about it, the first one shouldn't even have happened.
They should have sat down with a piece of paper and
drew everything out.
Well, the problem is the first one was just they had an idea, made a movie.
And they should have stopped.
Hey, let's make two. Yeah, it was popular. They thought, hey, we can make two more. And then they changed the rules to their own universe.
Yes.
You shouldn't. If they wouldn't have changed the rules to the universe, you wouldn't have a problem because you wouldn't have anything to stand on in the next two movies.
You know, the first one kind of makes sense. They had to go back to make sure his birth happens. His parents get together, and then he can go back to his own timeline.
Yeah, and I mean, and of course, I mean, it's got a lot of silliness with them disappearing, but the problem is that was their universe and how it worked.
Yeah, that was the first time it was brought up.
The second one, they added rules to it, which the rules
contradicts the first
one. Yeah, exactly. Make the first one impossible.
Yeah. The first one, when they first set the rules, it was fine.
Rules in the second one actually make the second movie impossible too.
Yes, it did. Exactly. That's what I talk about. They should never be able to go back to see. I could never to go to the future to see myself. But this is not the time travel episode. We'll talk about more time travel as we've seen more time travel movies.
There's gonna be more because we love it too much.
Yeah, we love it too much. I can't stop talking about time travel.
Well, the problem is if I let you do time travel, you do time travel every episode.
Yeah, I probably do time travel episode. Eventually, we will run out.
Yeah, no, we probably won't.
No, we don't think so.
Nah.
No, because I still haven't seen Time After Time. So we will both agree that Endgame does it the best.
I really feel Endgame does it the best so far.
Endgame does it the best. It took years.
And Loki.
Loki
really does a good job too. I'm sure there's some spots in there. Probably be like, it may take us 10 years. We'll sit here and go, oh, Loki had it all wrong. But
yeah.
At the moment, it's pretty good.
Yeah, the moment is very good. Loki. Yeah, the time variance.
The problem is you don't want to take too much about it because then you ruin a lot of stuff. Because I mean, there's no reason to ruin Star Trek. And
okay, you know what? I'm going to take this offline, so I'm going to end this episode right here. It's a really short one. We did it like in an hour 15, which is great. Yeah,
It was an easy movie.
it was an easy movie, so I
Just don't
urge everyone
understand
to
why
watch it.
people had any problems with it.
Because you know what? People are smarter now, so if you haven't seen the 13th Floor, right, go watch it. It's really worth watching.
Like we said, it doesn't have a high production, but I mean, the city, the recreation of Los Angeles, 1930s is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very
It's a
amazing
pretty
for its
good
time.
story.
On that a low budget.
Problem is, you watch this, we already ruined everything.
So watch the 13th Floor before you watch this, okay? I'm going to put that in the title. Watch the movie first before you watch this. You'll appreciate it more. So I thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching this segment of our reviews. I hope you had a great time listening to us. Be sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one. Laters.